We know this toilet, female, male, or a typical area. We're going to start creating the setup in on-screen takeoff to handle a typical area. So what we will do, we will start by clicking on the cover sheet, and then we see that there are areas and typical areas. So we will start by defining areas. I'm going to create a new area. This is going to be called generically restrooms. Okay. And I'm going to just create that restroom as an area. So we have areas in the building that are restrooms. And then typical area, I'm going to create a new one. I am going to call this male, female restroom. And I am going to create another one. I'm going to call this a full restroom. Okay, the full restroom is going to be the restroom that has several toilets, and it has the two showers and the large one. And the male female restroom is the smaller one that has only the sink and the toilet. So in these cells, we're going to enter how many restrooms of each type we have. So we have two male female restrooms, and then we have two full restrooms. When we click OK, now that typical area has been created, and when we click OK here, it looks like nothing happened with our takeoff, right? Everything looks exactly the same. However, when we look at this pull down menu, there is a section that says here area, all areas. When we pull down here, we see there is a male female restroom, full restrooms, and then restrooms. So now this is divided by areas. We have unassigned areas, and then we have these particular typical areas. It is very important to keep in mind that when you are going to do a takeoff that belongs to a typical area, you need to change this area to the takeoff that you're going to do. If you forget about that, then you are going to start assigning takeoffs to those typical areas, and then the problem is that they will be counted as many times as a typical area has. So let me explain how does that work. Suppose that we want to estimate the floor, right, for this typical male-female restroom. So we will create a new condition, an area condition, right, to estimate that floor. So let me go ahead and start the process view. Let me, I have closed the conditions window, so let me go ahead and open it. Conditions window. So I'm going to create a new condition. Will be an area condition, and I am going to call these male female toilet floor. Okay, so I am going to click apply and OK, and now that I am going to make the takeoff, I am going to assign this takeoff to the male female restroom. Okay, so now I do the takeoff here for this area, and now I get 339 square feet. You see that on the takeoff, but if I move the mouse over, right, and we go to the takeoff, in the takeoff the male female room says 339. Okay, and now we see here on the top the male well, first of all, let me go one step back. This is the way that you should have your takeoff. Right now the takeoff totals is selected, and then we see male female toilet floor. It has an area assigned for restrooms, and it says quantity 339 square feet. If I select here the takeoff plus typical group area, Now the male female toilet floor appears on the top, sort of in gray, and then look at the quantity is 170. 170 is going to be half of 339. So we see that the takeoff that we do in the male female restroom is duplicated to reflect that there are two typical areas in that drawing. Let me make this perhaps a little bit easier. Let's go back to this takeoff. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to estimate some of the accessories. So that will be a count condition that may be easier to see. I'll go into the details for the typical restrooms, which is in drawing A71. I am going to look now at this toilet, male, female, typical, and I see there is a one number one accessory in this restroom, right? So I'm going to look down here. The number one accessory is paper towel dispenser. I will create a new condition. It's going to be a count condition, and I am going to call these paper toilet dispenser. Okay, this is going to be one count condition, and now I'm ready to estimate that condition. I'll go back to the male female room, and I'm basically going to set up the area to the typical area male female restroom, and I am going to click here on that one paper toilet dispenser. Now see, I've clicked once. There is only one paper toilet dispenser in this drawing, but the count here goes to two because there are two typical areas with the male female restroom. So let's go to the takeoff, and now we see a paper toilet dispenser a count of two, but on the top where we have these two in gray indicating is the each one, we see that there is a one in the male female restroom, so we counted ones, but because there are two typical areas, the total number of toilet paper dispensers is two. Now, with the same logic, let's go and do a takeoff on the women's toilet room for item number one, which is this paper towel dispenser. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see the entire restroom. So we should have hmm, well, they do not have this paper towel dispenser. This is not paper toilet, it's paper towel. I'm sorry, I messed up this a little bit because number one is paper towel, not paper toilet. Paper toilet is number four, which they do have several. So let me rename this. Use paper towel. Towel dispenser. Okay, so paper towel dispenser is item number one, and toilet paper holder is number four. So I'm going to create a new condition. It's going to be a count condition for toilet paper holder. Okay, so this toilet paper holder is going to be repeated several times, and the main female restroom, but it's going to repeat only once in the male female typical toilet. So I'm going to count one for the male female restroom. See, this is set up for male female restroom areas. So number 4 is this one here. I click it once, and now I add one toilet paper holder for the male female restroom, and then toilet paper holder will come as 2 in the count in my takeoff. So let's go back to the takeoff here. Now we have 3 items in typical areas: the toilet paper holder, the paper towel dispenser. We have 2 of each, and then we see there is 1 on each one of these areas. So now let's go back to the drawing and go to the women's toilet room, and now I'm going to change the area to full restroom. Right, this is a full restroom. We have 2 of these, and then we have one toilet paper dispenser here. We have another one here. See, this is a mistake. This number 4 here should be a number 1, really. We have another toilet paper dispenser here, and another toilet paper dispenser here. So we have 3 on this area, right? And now look at the count. It says 8 because we have 3 here, 1 on the small restroom. That's 4, but we have 2 of each one of these restrooms, so we have a total number of 8. If we go to the takeoff, we're going to see that the paper towel dispenser, we have 1 on the male female restroom, and then we have 3 on the full restrooms. So we have a total of 4 on these 1 items, right? But because we have 2 male female restrooms, then we have a count of 2 here, and because we have 2 full restrooms, then we have 6 toilet paper holders there, and we have a total count then of 8. So it will be 6 plus 2, 8. And that's how the typical areas work. Any takeoff that we do in here needs to be first set up to the right area and then do the takeoff. And remember, when you're done with that, go back to unassigned. So if you do takeoffs on your project, they will be counted towards the correct area. It's important because otherwise you are going to mess up your count or your estimates in other areas of the building. These typical conditions and areas can be used for many things. When you have a project that has 2 floors, for example, you can set up areas floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, and so on. And if you have a high rise with typical rooms, you don't need to count 100 times. If you have 100 rooms, you just set up the area, typical area, repeated 100 times, and then that allows you to do the takeoff easily. Now notice that the color change here when I go from unassigned to male female restroom. The colors of the conditions change a little bit, so it reflects these red ones. It's the color of the toilet paper holder. We can see those in red. If I go now to unassigned, then they sort of gray out to show that they're not in this unassigned area. And if I click all areas, then everything goes full color. I hope that you take advantage of these typical areas and areas feature of the software, and you now have all the tools that you need to finish your week's homework. I did not make a video for the cost, but it's the same as we have done before. Just take the takeoff, copy and paste that into Excel, look for cost reference, and then calculate the total cost. These finishes are in Division 9, and the accessories should go into Division 10. Next week, we will see how we can break down the takeoff in on screen takeoff to have all the divisions separated in the takeoff.